Love it.
Hey there, guys. It's Mia here. I am so excited. I am super excited about our guest tonight for the Results Incubator. Her name is Cassaundra Sims, and she's absolutely amazing, an amazing entrepreneur, thought leader, and she leads from the front. And I'm excited to have the opportunity to have her share her story with you so that you can learn by standing on her shoulders tonight. I have the honor of coaching giants, women who are smart, they're sharp, they're ambitious, they're action takers, and they're implementers. And also, they're just like you. Every single one of us have started from scratch. And so I want to welcome you, Cassaundra, to the show.
Thank
And
you.
yeah, thank you for being here. I'm so excited to have the opportunity to have you here tonight. And if you don't mind, I would love for you to share with our audience who you are, what you do, and who you serve.
Well, I'm Cassaundra Sims, also known in the social media space of my business as Cassie the Coach. I work with boss ladies, as I call them, women in business, women in corporate, who are looking for ways to transform, to make transitions in their life, in either their personal life or their professional life. And I coach them for to increase their opportunity for transforming their life to be a better person.
Awesome. And to run great businesses because you are, after all, the boss lady. Now, what I love about working with you is you've been an entrepreneur for a very long time. So tell us a little bit about your journey as an entrepreneur. Why did you choose entrepreneurship?
Well, my journey, it started 23 years ago. So I've been in business for 23 years for myself. And honestly, I never just went out and said I want to be in business. I went, basically, I worked in corporate and I had life happen to me. I basically got to a point where I first had children and decided that I didn't really want to go back to work. And so I looked for an opportunity to kind of get into an industry where I had some flexibility. So I started with getting into the mortgage industry, and I eventually wound up owning my own mortgage branch. And I did that for about 9 years. And we were highly successful. We did about 7 figures in that business. And then came the crash of 2008. And so that's when the mortgage industry and the real estate industry crashed, as everyone knows. And literally, I lost everything. I lost everything. I lost my home. I lost cars. I lost, obviously, my business. And I had no idea what I was going to do next. And so I talked to a friend who basically told me that she had a friend that was in a commercial janitorial services company and that was looking to possibly get out or just kind of dissolve the business, and was looking to eventually turn it over to someone else. So I said, well, let's go check out the janitorial business and see if it's something I can and want to do. And so ultimately, 15 years later, I got into that business and I made it work. I'm self-taught. I learned how to do that business pretty much, or run that business from the ground up. I worked for him for a couple of months, and literally he walked away from the business. And so I had to figure it out. And I know that a lot of entrepreneur women, that's what we're used to doing, is figuring it out and making things happen. And so that's what I did. That's how I got into business.
So I love this because a lot of times when people hear entrepreneurial stories, they hear all of the things that go right. I've started a business and instantly overnight I became a multimillionaire, all these crazy things, right? But the reality, what we know is that building a business is a process.
Yes,
And sometimes in that process, it means that things work. And sometimes it means that we learn also from the things that don't work. So what would you say was one of the biggest lessons that you learned from what didn't work with your first business that you were able to stand on in this new business, because you're very successful in that company? So what is it that you applied and you learned, your takeaways from your failures?
So I learned, first of all, that there is no one way to the top, number one. And my path to the top may be different than somebody else's path to the top. But at the end of the day, one must have perseverance, dedication, commitment, You must have the ability to get back up after getting knocked down. And you have to learn how to have self-talk and be able
Yeah.
to talk yourself through issues, talk yourself through scenarios, because in business, you'll be faced with all kinds of things that you cannot anticipate. And so
Yeah.
you have got to be able to look beyond that moment, think quickly, and to be able to decide how you're going to proceed. Because at the end of the day, you write your own paycheck. And so you've got to be the person that is able to continue the business on. So I take those transferable skills into my new coaching business and my online presence and my Boss Ladies Roundtable podcast and the coaching that I do for business executives and other women in business. And I take that and transfer that skill. Now, one of the challenges has been is learning this whole social media piece and going from a brick and mortar business
Yeah.
where I walk buildings and deal with a physical customer, and I walk in and shake a hand, and you write contracts and proposals. And now I've transferred all of those skills now into a business that is online, not physically in face to face with a customer, kind of like we are now.
Yeah.
This is the nuts and bolts of the business, and so I've been able to transfer those skills into now my coaching and social media business, and I'm excited about the possibilities and where things are going.
So what I love is that, you and I've had the opportunity to work together a little over a year.
Yes.
And what I love when I have the opportunity to work with entrepreneurs who are already successful before they came to me. So before you came to me, you're already building a business that's done, over six figures, very strong six figures, for many, many years. So what made you open to having a coach or working with a coach? Because you already had a very successful company. And a lot of times when people are already successful, they think, I already know what I need to know because I'm already successful. So what was that for you?
That's a great question. I believe that in order to be successful in business, you have to have somebody that you can go to. Everybody's coach needs a coach. Everybody's doctor needs a doctor. Every psychologist needs somebody they can talk to unload all the things we tell them. And so very much like this business and my needing a coach, I knew that in order to get into an area where I wanted to be successful, in order to grow a business to the extent that I want to grow my business to, I knew I needed some expertise. And I couldn't gain that on my own. I needed to actually work with somebody that had that information that I can glean from.
Awesome. So I love that. And so you came always teachable, right? And
Yeah.
adding value to our community. And what would you say has been your biggest aha as a direct result of us working together? What have you learned that's been different?
Well, first of all, that I can learn how to go from a brick and mortar to an online virtual business. And another big aha has been that there's a great need out there for those people that want to get into the online business and take their skills, knowledge, and experience, whatever that might be, and take that and transfer that into a business of their own, something that they can do online. Very much like you do, Mia, coaching either one-on-one, but more in this case, we believe, and you've taught us to coach one to many, so that the revenue can be realized. And so I think that that's one of the biggest ahas, that you can make a great deal of money in an online business, very much like a brick and mortar, and it's less work once you lay the foundation.
Yes. So I love this because I was just talking about this earlier today. I did a live and I was talking about the fact that, the reality is that what I'm doing today, I actually work less today than I ever have in my life. I have greater fulfillment, more time, no cap on my income because of the models. And I truly believe that the money is in the models. And just like your business, my husband and I owned a commercial laundry. We had a brick and mortar business that we ran for practically 20 years. And there was a cap on our income. We couldn't, no matter what, we couldn't double, triple, quadruple our prices because the market really determined what we could charge, right? And we had these things called employees, right? You had these people called employees, and we had a capital plant. We had physical equipment that we had to navigate and fix and things like that. Whereas in a coaching and consulting business, you don't have any of those as costs or as limitations. You don't have a cap on your income in any way. And I feel, and you tell me what you think, you get to be fully expressed. You get to be more of who you are, and you get to share all of what you have with the people that you desire to serve. So why coaching for you or in consulting?
Well, I love the coaching and consulting business because I can, first of all, design something directly related to a person's needs.
Yeah.
And you don't have to do a one off canned, process. You literally can sit and talk to your client, find out what their needs are, and design something directly that will transform their life and help them get to where they're trying to go. I love that about coaching. I love being able to be my most authentic self, in which I can show up and the person that I am, share my knowledge, expertise, whatever that might be, and be able to share that in such a way that I can educate my customer and or whoever I'm coaching so that they can get the transformation that they're looking for.
Yeah, I love this because a lot of times in coaching specifically, people think that there's one way to do it, right? There's one way to do it. And I think that one of the things you've been able to see inside of our community, that there are many ways to take what you do and to package it. There's not just one process or you know what I mean, just one way to do it. It's literally thinking about your background, your gifts, and your talents, and how you can bring all of who you are to the table. And that's really what makes you an exceptional coach. That's what makes you an authority. And that's what positions you as the obvious choice for people who want to work with you. So how have you seen that work for you? I mean, you obviously you're a successful business owner, and you have longevity in that. How have you been able to design your coaching practice, understanding and bringing all of yourself to the table?
Well, I feel that based on my clients' needs, I look at the marketplace, number one. I have to, look at what I bring to the table. I bring 23 years of experience as a business owner, 2 successful businesses. And I look at what the market will bear, what the market needs. 2 things, people need coaching. It's a huge area. And I look at how I can meet that need. And with my coaching, my experience, I bring to the table, I know that I can help them make the transition they're looking for.
Yeah, that's right. So I love this. Now, inside of our community, I always call our community, the women there are giants. And I only work with giants. And those are people who they're smart, they're sharp, they share at highest level, and they stand tall in their value for themselves. And understanding that when you show up for yourself, ultimately, you're showing up for the other people as well in your community because you're leading from the front. Who would you say, I don't know, I'm putting you on the spot. And I don't know if you have anyone to say, but who would you say inside of the community that you've met has been an inspiration for you? Like someone that you watch them build their business and overcome whatever, and as a result of their example, it inspired you in some way.
Well, I have to tell you, and she's my girl. She knows who she is. Her name is Chevelle. She has been a wonderful example of success, of growth, of taking something from a small, where she was just making things happen, that once she got the training and she was involved in our giant group, she has grown a very successful business. And she's a great model for every coach, anyone that's coming along that wants to, go into business for themselves through an online process. She really is a great example.
So I love that because I think sometimes, how a lot of times people who are watching wonder, is it real? And are you a part of a community where you actually see people who create amazing success? Because I could say that, someone creates success. I could say anything. Okay. People say everything. Okay. But the reality is, it's like, what do you see? What's been your experience? And I agree, Chevelle, I interviewed her on the last Results Incubator, and her story is amazing, as many of the stories are amazing. Watching someone build a business from, as she says, 5 figures to a very strong 6 figures in a relatively short period of time, 9 months to 1 year, and really owning that process and really being open to changing the models and doing the internal work to be able to see yourself differently. Because, you know, the reality is there is a layer of money around us that we don't see. And a lot of times it's because of the models that we've been taught in the past, and you know that the only models that we understand. And I think part of our community is being able to, you know, dismantle some of that and work with different understanding around how your knowledge is exceptionally powerful, properly packaged. And there are many different ways to take what you want to do: licensing, you know, coaching, consulting, training, you know, or to be able to realize and hit your goals. And I love what you shared also in that your previous answer was about being authentic, because to me, that's your power, right? Like the reality is that understanding that what you know and what your journey is completely different than what I know and what my journey is. And they both have value, and that it's not about believing that there's just one way to be successful, that, you know, that you have to compete to be successful, because ultimately you're your own competitor, right? Like, so if you could speak to that and just talk a little bit about, you know, how authenticity has helped you in your journey as an entrepreneur and also in your coaching practice to build your business. And obviously you now have the podcast, which I want to hear more about.
Yes. Okay. So for me, I can tell you that in my traditional business, customers is key, and just really letting a customer see. You know, people talk about putting their business face on. I think that the less we put a business face on and put on our real face, which is who we are, let the customer get to know you. Let the client, in this case, the person you're coaching or the group you're coaching, let them get to know the authentic you. The good, the bad, and the ugly, because we just talked about business being a challenge in itself. And sometimes that challenge can cause us to have this fake face of, I've got this all together. I know what I'm doing all the time, and everything goes perfectly, and life is just wonderful. What the reality of that is that business is challenging. But when we can bring our authentic selves, and our customers and our clients get to know us personally, they get to realize that, you know what? Because Cassaundra exists and Mia exists and the other giants in our group exist, I know I can do this too. They're not perfect. And when you share some of your imperfections, people realize, you know what? I'm going to be okay. If she made it, if she went through that, I know I can make it too. That's one of the reasons that I started my podcast, is because I wanted to share with other women in business that it's okay that you don't have to be perfect. You don't have to be a perfect size. You don't have to be in a perfect relationship. You don't have to have perfect kids. You can have whatever flaws you bring to the world, because we all bring our authentic selves. And it's okay, because business allows room for you. Your gifts, you've heard, will make room for you. And I believe that women that want to do more, have more, be more, or have a place to share and just sit down and listen to somebody else just like them, and to know that some days it's okay. I'm going to get through this too. Because that's what we talk about on our show. We don't talk about how to, you know, grow your business per se. Some of that's involved, but I more or less like to have conversations with other business women or people who have had challenges in life, personally, professionally. There are stories that I bring on my podcast of women that were fired, lost businesses, started a business twice, 2 and 3 times. And because of that, they can now bring that to the table and share with maybe some other up and coming young businesswoman or business person that's struggling, trying to figure out their next steps.
I love this. What is the name of the podcast?
It's called the Boss Ladies Roundtable Podcast. We're on YouTube with the same name. We're on Facebook with the same name as well, Facebook group, and LinkedIn. So you can catch us all of those places.
I love this. Okay. And, you know, I agree with you that I think that clients want to see the real you. and they want to learn and stand on your shoulders from the mistakes that you've made and the lessons as a result of them. And because of it, it really makes their journey that much greater. And I think this notion of airbrushing your story as an entrepreneur, so, thinking that's more attractive, that you're going to attract your ideal customers from that, that's not true. The reality inside of our community, my clients have learned that through a house flood, oh my God, okay.
Yes.
What do you do when you have a house flood? And how I've been able to navigate, some of the real challenges that have happened to me, being a mom, having a husband who has been on dialysis, being hacked, multiple times, and how to overcome those things and how I've overcome those things, whether it's in terms of what resources to put in place in your business, or whether it's what mindset you need to have, or what you need to read, or what kind of support you need to have. I think that's what great entrepreneurs do. Angie just subscribed to your YouTube, which I think is awesome.
Thank
and
you.
I know that many will, because it's really, really great. And then when we're done this live, we can also go here and you can post right inside here as well, so that the folks can come and subscribe to your podcast. Now, you attended the Giant Experience Master Training over a year and a half ago.
Yes.
Okay, so first of all, which is our entry level master training. I think when you came, it was about 15 hours of training over a course of several days.
It was.
And so what was your experience at the Giant Experience Master Training online? Because a lot of times people make investments at a high level in themselves and it's offline, right? They physically are in person, but I do this training online. What was your experience?
First of all, it was at the height of COVID, number one. It's just when COVID had just hit and we were all trying to scramble and figure out. And I saw you give a presentation in that white shirt. And what I wanted, first of all, I wanted what you shared. I wanted freedom of time, and I wanted freedom of being able to work from anywhere. I call it WFA, right? So that encouraged me. That's probably where you're working from now, anywhere. And that encouraged me to get involved right there. And I think that experience, it was amazing, because I realized I could go from a brick and mortar business, something I've done for 23 years successfully, have my own success. I still run one of those businesses now. It takes very good care of me and my family, but I wanted an option that I want to be able to increase my reach. I want to help more people. I want to invest in the lives of other women, of other people who are coming on this path to try to figure out where they wanted to be. And you, in that presentation, you captured me over those 4 days. I was like, I'm signing up for everything she's got. And I pretty much did.
So what I love is that, we've obviously, have had a journey together. You've had an opportunity to step inside of a lot of the training that I provide. And there's obviously the tangible training, but I think that sometimes the most valuable thing that I provide my clients is the direct consulting. It is literally in that moment, right? Listening to you and your business and what you want to do and what you want to close and what the options are that are available to you, what those are. And I think that's really important, particularly in today's time, because a lot of people are investing in systems, right? And have invested in systems that may or may not have created the answer for them. It's not always just the course that you listen to, but a lot of times it's making sure that the consulting matches what it is that you want to know. That's what I think is, unique about what we provide is the degree of consulting. My background is corporate training. And I really try to think about, when I'm talking to each and every client, for them, what are the options that are available to them and how to think about it. What would you say for you has been the greatest level, like from the coaching, obviously the Giant Experience Master Training and us continuing the journey, what's been the greatest level of value for you?
Oh, wow. That's a big question, because I have experienced value on so many levels as a result. As I said, we've been together now for about a year and a half. And I experienced just first of all, talking to other giants like myself. You're our chief giant, but hearing their stories and hearing how they go from pillar to post and still grow Some are still learning. Others are developing their foundation. All the questions they ask. It's such an education because the multiple people, I think sometimes there's 23, 30, whatever in our group. And so the questions that we ask when we come on, everybody learns from that experience. So we get to grow our business exponentially because we have the experience questioning wisdom and knowledge from you give knowledge to everybody's got different questions and what may be working for one person or kind of an issue that they're having in their business. You give an answer to that. And it's like, oh, it's an aha about something I was working on for my business. And so we all kind of glean from each other and we all kind of learn from that experience. And it's just been a great experience for me. I love the calls every Tuesday night. They matter most to me because I've walked away ever since I started my first call with knowledge and expertise that I can grow my business further. It's been wonderful.
I love that. And you are always on the calls, right? So I love that because I have some clients that like to listen to calls, right? And then some clients that like to be on them. And I agree with you that, you have a very diverse group of people with very different skill sets and that are all doing something completely different. And they're all being authentically themselves. And that in listening, there's an education in that just because sometimes you never realize that something that I'm sharing with someone else might be the very thing that would support you. I remember, and you probably remember this, that if we go back to your favorite person in the community in terms of inspiration, Chevelle, and that she did her very first deal. And she actually was going to back out of that deal. If you remember, she was willing to take a much lower amount, right, from her first big deal. And when we walked through that sales process, she never looked back beyond that day. Not only did she close what she needed to close in the deal, but from that moment on, it became the foundation by which, from that moment forward, she got it. And it was great walking her through that, and everyone benefited.
We all benefited.
From that model. And that's what I love about the level of coaching, consulting, and the quality of the women, your ambition level and above. People don't want out calls saying, I just want help. They come on with questions around, what it is that they want to solve and how they want to create impact in the world. So I love that because then that makes the calls that much more elevated in terms of conversations around what can be shared as well. What would you say is one tool or resource that you've gotten, right? That something that you use today, right? That, it could be a book, it could be a tool. Okay.
Many tools. It's been a year and a half. Some I can think of just right offhand is reading. We talk about different books. What are you reading? Because I believe in order to be a business owner or a person that's trying to do something on a large level, especially when you're speaking into the lives of other people, you've got to have a mindset. And we get our mindset from reading books, tapes, whatever. Some people like videos, whatever. And one of the books is what do you say to yourself? What do you talk? How do you talk to yourself? That kind of thing. I think we all kind of get that title a little confused sometimes, but I think it helps us. What do you say when you talk to yourself? Other things, other tools that we use is funnels, how to create funnels, how to walk, how to, bring the customer in or the client in, and then take them through your sales process to actually get them through to buying and making a purchase with you. How to create, one of the tools that I find important, it's not really an app or anything, but it's just coaching one-to-many. I hear that there are still coaches out there that's coaching one-on-one. And I'm a believer of being in business for some time. I know that the riches are in, niches, but riches are in numbers. And you often when you're coaching one person, you have to repeat the same thing you probably just said to that person to 6 other people that same day. And you only have 8 or 24 hours in a day to coach. But what you do is you increase that 24 hours to 3 times, 6, 10 times the more people that you share that information with. And they all glean from that because everybody heard it and can take it back to their businesses. and they can grow them from there. So those are just some of the tools. I mean, there are others, Kajabi. There are other resources you've shared with us on how to set up a CRM and, things like that we use, and how to hire people, your virtual assistant. Those are, things that are invaluable, and how to do that in person. Coming, like, for me, I don't like hiring people online. So I'm still getting used to that. And I've vetted a couple people, that already work for me, but I've vetted some new people, and it's starting to work out. So those are just some of the tools that you've taught us to use in our business.
And we talk about how to hire people. We also talk about what happens when you hire the wrong person that hacks you, right? What do you do with that, right? How to understand that. We talk about how to, onboard the people. So I think it's really interesting that running a business, building a coaching business and practice is more than understanding, how to make money in the business or what you're selling in your program, but it's actually how to build the business and how to run the business so that the business doesn't run you, and that you actually build a company that you can step away from it and eventually when it's set up properly. And I think that is really my goal, to show my clients how to build their business that way, with a degree of freedom. None of us are perfect. I've done it wrong. I've done it better because I've done it wrong, or, and every single parts of what I learned, I teach you, and I'm very authentic and transparent about, like, this did not work.
Yes, you are, Mia. Yes, you are. And you have been from day one.
And it's really interesting. And it's like, it's my honor to be that way with my clients, because I wish when I got started in my business, I had that level of transparency. I thought that everybody was doing it right, and I didn't know that, it took me 18 months. It was an 18-month overnight success, right? And I kept hearing all these examples, like, in 30 days, I created a full practice. In 30 days, I hit 6 figures and all this crap. And the reality, that was not my experience. And I hope that when people hear this message, that you understand that the view is the same. It was 18 months for me. I had many mentors, teachers, coaches over the years. I had to figure out how to run this business online. I was coming from a corporate space. I didn't know much about technology or running things online. So I had a different kind of learning curve, but you can make this work. And I try to come from that angle. Is there something that I should have asked you that I didn't ask you that you think would be important to share with the audience?
I don't know. I think that one of the things that I would just like to share is that, get involved in this giant experience with Mia. It's more of a statement than a question. But if you're looking at where you are, and you have a goal and a dream, if nothing else, it may not even be a goal, but a dream of where you want to be, you need assistance and coaching to get there. And you need the right coaching, because at the end of the day, sometimes we connect with people. It's spiritual sometimes. I have to tell you, Mia, you came across on a screen in front of me, and it changed my life in ways that I can't speak of, because I resonated with your story. I resonated with you and your corporate background. And I've been in corporate as well as own my own businesses. And I know what that felt like. And I said, I want what she has at that level that she has it. And for some people, it may be freedom. For some people, it may be money. For some people, it may just mean I don't have to go into, drive, 2 hours to work anymore and sit in traffic. If I can work from my computer at home and generate an income that serves myself and my family.
Yeah.
And I think that those things are important. So I don't know if that answers your question about what you didn't ask me, but what I can say is what I've gleaned from my experience with you in the Giant experience has been life-changing for me. And I just see that I've created another business and stream of income now that is just going to take me and my family to a whole nother level. And I get to work from anywhere. That part I love.
Now that part I love too. Okay. Yeah. And I think that's something that is really exciting for me to watch my clients build, because I know what that is. And 20 years ago, right, it was a dream. It was a hope. It was a wish. and now it's a reality. And as a result of laying that foundation and knowing how to do it the right way. And I'm always committed to helping my clients. You get free and you stay free. All right. And it
That's
takes
right.
time to build the foundation to figure out what that product is, how to price it, how to package it, right? And what should be in your package,
Yeah.
how to position your background, your unique background, and then how to set up the process to attract your ideal buyers. And what do you say to them that's authentic and true to you, that's not salesy in any way?
That's right.
And
That's
that's
right.
really important. And all of those things over the years, I've had to figure out for myself. And you can see on our calls, it's different for all the clients,
Yes,
that
it
we
is.
use a general process, but for all
Mhm.
of them, it's different, in terms of how do you sell? What do you package?
Mhm.
How do you position your background? And I think that's really important for people to understand, whether you are a stay-at-home mom or whether you
Right.
are a corporate folk or whether you are a
Right.
medical doctor. It's
Yep.
different for every single person in our
Everybody.
community, of what that can look like. And I just want to
Thank you.
thank you for such an incredible conversation
Oh,
of
absolutely.
hope and of wisdom from someone who I absolutely admire in the community from day
Thank you.
one.
Thank you.
And and it's been an honor to have the opportunity just to watch you grow and to
Mhm.
build your business. And then I see you are a student of the business. I was very much like this, okay? Am like
Yes.
this, okay? I'm
Yes.
of the business, okay? I got to understand the moving parts here, okay?
Absolutely. That's
and
right.
then and as a result of that, I see that in you, and I
Mhm.
admire that tenacity, and I appreciate having the
Mhm.
opportunity. If you could tell us again the name of your podcast,
Mhm.
um, and if you have a website or something that you want people to follow,
Okay.
the floor is yours.
So my podcast is called the Boss Ladies Roundtable Podcast, and we're on YouTube. We have a Facebook page with the same name, and pretty much the way to reach me is Cassie the Coach, the number one at gmail.com. So if you want to reach out to me directly, have a conversation, find out if there's anything I can do to assist. Again, it's Cassie the Coach at Gmail. No, Cassie the Coach, the number one at gmail.com.
Awesome.
Thank
And
you,
then
Mia,
you can
for
go
having
in
me.
into this broadcast and then put your contact details there as well. I want to
Awesome.
thank you for being absolutely amazing. And just
Thank
really
you.
quickly before we sign off, are there any quick questions for Cassaundra? Are there any questions that you have for her? We're happy to answer those. And this is such a delightful conversation. It's so lively and
Great.
and bright, just like your amazing orange top, right? I love that.
It's
And
my favorite color.
it's one of my favorites too, and looks
Yes.
amazing.
Yes.
But it's great because it's just a real conversation. You
Yes.
didn't know the questions. We just had a conversation. And I
Mhm.
think that's always really important for other people to know that, like, it's
Yes.
real and that you can do this. Like, this idea of some people can be successful and others can't is just, it's not true. You need the right, likely mentor, you need the right models, and you need the right methods and that are distinct to you. All right.
That's
And
right.
you need to make sure that whoever you choose to work with
Mhm.
has examples of the proof and can demonstrate that proof, not just tell
Mhm.
you in words, I've coached this
Mhm.
number of people, but can they show you, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70, or more, people that they've supported? Because if
That's
someone's
it.
successful, they have old proof and they have new proof, and
That's
they would
right.
have the ability to demonstrate it. Okay. Angie says she enjoyed it. We want to thank you
Oh,
once again
thank
for
you.
being here tonight. And
Yes.
I appreciate you. And I thank you for being an amazing guest, Cassaundra.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me. Thank you again, Mia.
Sure. And
All right.
there is a quick question actually.
Oh, there is a question.
Any, Angie says, any specific tips for a new business owner?
Oh, gosh, yes. First of all, you've got to get yourself ready for what may be coming down the line. You probably already have your EIN number, your basics, and all of that, right? But now that you've got that, you've got to decide how you want to grow your business, who your customers are, how you're going about getting those customers, and what commitment you need to make and that you're willing to make to put yourself in a position to grow that business to the length you want, to the figures and the money that you want to make in that business. Know that there will be up days and down days, but you've got to stay committed. Listen to podcasts, listen to people like Mia, listen to coaches, and make sure you've got an accountability person. The days when you don't feel like getting out of bed, or the days where you had a rough day yesterday and you don't want to do it again today, you need to have somebody you can call and talk to that says, you know what, you can do this. You got this, girl. Make it happen. Well, that's my advice.
That's amazing advice. And it's a perfect place for us to end. And I want to thank you once again for being an amazing guest. I appreciate you, and I thank you. All right.
Thank you again. Have a good evening.
Yeah, until the next time, we'll see you next time for the Results Incubator. And I'm so excited that you're here. Be sure to like this page, just share this page with other women who are smart, sharp, action-oriented implementers who are looking to be a coach, a consultant, a trainer, an online educator, or a speaker. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. Have an amazing night.
Thank you, ma'am. Bye-bye.